The night was cold and quiet. The moonlight from two pale moons touched the surface of the wide silver river. Strange blue fireflies floated above the water, making the world look almost like a dream. In the dark, a boy walked alone. His name was Leo, a human orphan who lived near the old ruins of a forgotten colony. Leo was thin, hungry, and tired. His shoes were torn and his jacket had holes. He had no family, no home, and no hope. Every day he searched for old tools, food cans, or batteries left behind by humans who once lived here before the Great War with the aliens. But tonight was different. As Leo walked by the riverbank, he heard something stranger. A soft, weak cry carried by the wind. It was not the sound of an animal. It was not human either, it was something else. He stopped and listened. The cry came again, like someone calling for help in a language half broken, half sung. Leo felt his heart beat faster. Curiosity fought with fear. He followed the sound through the tall grass until he reached a bend in the river. There, under the shadow of a fallen tree, he saw her. A girl, not human. Her skin shimmered faintly like silver glass under moonlight. Her hair glowed with a soft blue light, and her eyes were large, golden, and filled with pain. One of her legs was twisted, bleeding faintly with blue blood that glowed in the dark. Leo froze. He had seen alien pictures before, in old data screens. The humans called them Varnak, strong, proud, and cruel. They were the warriors who had driven humans from this world. But this girl did not look cruel. She looked weak, broken. When she saw Leo, her eyes widened in fear. She tried to move away, but pain made her fall back with a soft cry. "Stay away," she gasped in broken English, her voice trembling. "Human, kill!" Leo raised his hands slowly. No, I won't hurt you. I promise." She shook her head, breathing fast. "Humans lie. Always lie." "I don't lie," Leo said softly. "You're hurt. You'll die if you stay here." The girl pressed her hand to her wound. "Better die than be found." "Helping human." Leo stepped closer, his eyes full of pity. "Please, let me help. I can fix your leg. I have bandages, food." For a long moment, the alien girl just stared at him. Then she looked at the dark sky, her golden eyes wet with tears. "My name, Ayla," she whispered. "If my people find me with you, they kill you." "And me too," Leo swallowed hard. "Then we have to move. Come on, Ayla. Let me help you cross the river. We can hide before dawn." She shook her head weakly. "I cannot walk." Leo looked at the rushing water. The river was wide and full of glowing creatures beneath the surface. He could hear them move, and large, slow, dangerous. But he didn't care. Something deep inside him said he couldn't leave her. He looked back at her, her face pale and tired. "I'll find a way," he said firmly. Leo ran back to the old ruins nearby and dragged pieces of wood, metal, and rope. The wind grew stronger. Ayla watched silently as he worked in the moonlight, his hands shaking from cold and fear. He built a small raft, tied with vines and broken cords. It was rough, weak, but it could float. When he came back, Ayla was shivering. Her eyes were dull. Leo kneeled beside her. "You'll be okay. Hold on to me." She hesitated, then slowly reached out her glowing hand. Her skin felt cool, soft, almost like glass. Leo lifted her carefully and placed her on the raft. The river whispered darkly, as if warning them. They pushed off from the shore. The water was colder than he thought. The current pulled hard, but Leo used a long stick to guide them. Around them, strange lights flickered under the surface, alien fish with bright fins. The air was full of the hum of night insects. Ayla looked down into the glowing water and whispered, "The Watchers." "What?" Leo asked. "They see us," she said weakly. "The river has eyes." Leo looked around nervously but saw nothing. Still, the feeling of being watched grew stronger. The water rippled behind them, and for a moment he saw a shadow, something big moving below. He pushed harder. The raft shook. A wave splashed over, soaking them both. Ayla gasped and grabbed his arm. "Faster!" Leo's heart pounded. The shadow rose again, closer this time. He didn't look down. He just pushed again and again, until finally the raft scraped against rocks and were on the other side. They made it. Leo dragged the raft onto the shore and helped Ayla down. She lay on the grass, breathing hard, her glowing blood mixing with the morning mist. "Thank you," she whispered, eyes closing. "But you should run. When dawn comes, they will come too," Leo frowned. "Who?" Her voice was barely a whisper. 50 warriors. They will come for me. And for you. The first light of dawn touched the sky. The trees across the river shimmered again with blue light, faint but growing brighter. Leo stared across the water, his heart beating like a drum. He didn't know what he had just started, but he knew one thing. He wasn't leaving her, not now, not ever. The first light of dawn touched the clouds, painting the river silver and blue. Mist drifted across the water like soft ghosts. Leo sat beside the fire he had built, his eyes fixed on Ayla. She slept on a blanket of dry grass, her breathing slow, her skin glowing faintly under the rising sun. He had stayed awake all night, keeping watch. The memory of the shadow under the water still haunted him. Something big had followed them. He didn't know what it was, and he didn't want to find out. Leo looked at the forest ahead. It was dense, full of whispering trees and glowing vines. The air shimmered faintly, as if the forest itself was alive. Ayla had said her people would come at dawn. And dawn was here. He touched her shoulder gently. Ayla, wake up. Her eyes opened slowly, the golden light inside them dim and tired. We made it? She whispered. Yes, we crossed the river last night, but we can't stay here. She tried to sit up, groaning in pain. Her leg was swollen and blue light pulsed weakly from her wound. My leg. It burns. Leo tore a strip of his jacket and wrapped it tight around her leg. You'll be fine, he said, though his voice trembled. You have to stay quiet. If your people come, they'll kill us both. Ayla looked at him sadly. They will not just kill you, Leo, they will erase you. My people, they hate humans. They say humans bring death. Leo looked away. Maybe they're right. Humans did start the war. But you helped me, she whispered. Why? He smiled faintly. Because you needed help. That's all. For a moment, Ayla said nothing. The wind moved her glowing hair and the river behind them sparkled. Then she whispered, The Watchers will tell them. We must go deeper. The Watchers? Leo asked. The things under the river. They see everything. They send light to the sky. The warriors follow the light. Leo's blood ran cold. He looked back at the river and then saw it. Faint, thin beams of blue light rising from the water like signals. They already know, Ayla said weakly. Leo's heart pounded. Then we have to move now. He lifted her again onto his back. She was light, her bones felt strange, like hollow crystal. As he started walking into the forest, Ayla whispered something in her own language, soft and sad. The forest was unlike anything Leo had seen. The trees were tall and silver, their leaves like glass. When he stepped on the mossy ground, it glowed under his feet. The air smelled sweet but heavy. Strange shapes moved in the mist, creatures with too many eyes and wings made of light. Ayla spoke softly in his ear. The forest is alive. It listens. Step where it is quiet, Leo nodded and walked slowly, choosing his steps carefully. Every time he broke a twig, the air around him seemed to shiver. Once a tall plant turned its head toward them. Yes, it turned its head. Its petals opened like eyes and watched them move. Leo's hands shook, but he didn't stop. This place is crazy, he whispered. Ayla managed a small laugh. It is home. After an hour of walking, they reached a small hill covered in blue grass. From the top, Leo could see far across the land, and his heart froze. On the far riverbank, the mist was glowing bright blue. Tiny dots of light moved in lines. Warriors, dozens of them. He could see their armor shining, their weapons pulsing with energy. They're coming, he said quietly. Ayla closed her eyes. 50 of them. I can feel their minds. Then we'll hide, Leo said. We just need a place to rest. He carried her down the hill and found a fallen tree with a hollow inside. It was big enough for them to crawl in. He laid her down gently. Ayla's hand trembled as she touched his arm. Why do you not leave me, Leo? You could run. You could live. Leo looked at her, his face tired but firm. Because I don't leave people behind. Not anymore. Her golden eyes softened. You are strange, human boy. Maybe, he said with a small smile. But I'm your strange human boy for now. She smiled weakly back, then her expression turned serious. Leo, listen. The forest hides us, but only if we stay still. The air here listens to voices. Speak softly. He nodded and sat beside her in silence. The sounds of the forest surrounded them. The slow hum of insects, the rustle of glowing leaves, and the faint heartbeat of the earth itself. Minutes passed. Then Ayla suddenly stiffened. Her eyes widened in fear. What is it? Leo whispered. They're near, she breathed. I feel their energy. The ground. It speaks of footsteps. Leo pressed his ear to the dirt and heard it. A faint vibration. A sound like marching, 50 steps in rhythm coming closer through the mist. He looked at Ayla. We can't run now. She met his eyes, whispering. Then we don't move. Not a sound. Not even a breath. The forest grew still. Through the cracks of the fallen tree, Leo saw blue shadows moving among the silver trunks. He held his breath as beams of scanning light swept over the ground. The alien warriors had arrived. And they were hunting. The forest held its breath. No birds sang. No wind moved the leaves. Even the glowing vines along the trees seemed frozen, like they feared to make a sound. Leo crouched beside the hollow log, his arms wrapped around Ayla's trembling body. Her golden eyes flickered in the dim light, fear shining inside them. Through the small cracks in the wood, he could see blue shadows drifting past, tall figures wearing armor that hummed softly like a living machine. 50 alien warriors were moving through the mist, searching, scanning, listening. Ayla's breath was fast and shallow. They are my father's soldiers, she whispered. They will find me. And you? Leo's heart pounded, but he kept his voice calm. We'll stay quiet. They'll pass. One of the warriors stopped nearby. His armor glowed with shifting symbols, strange and alive, crawling across his chest like fire. He raised his staff and a beam of blue light swept over the forest floor. It stopped for a moment on the log. Leo held his breath. A loud clicking sound came from the warrior's helmet. Then he turned away. The beam moved on. Leo slowly exhaled. His heart thudded so hard he was sure they could hear it. After a long silence, Ayla spoke softly, her voice weak but steady. You should not have helped me. My people call your kind destroyers. They will kill you just to erase the shame of my rescue. Leo smiled faintly. Yeah, maybe. But if I'd walked away, I'd still hear you crying in my head. I couldn't do that, Ayla's lips trembled. Not from fear this time, but from something else. You risked everything for someone you don't know. Leo shrugged. I know enough. You needed help. That's all that matters. A strange quiet filled the air again. Outside, the warriors' steps grew softer, fading into the distance. One by one, their blue lights disappeared deeper into the forest. Leo waited a long while before whispering, I think they're gone. Ayla nodded weakly. For now, he helped her sit up. She looked pale. Her legs still glowed faintly with blue light. Leo tore another piece from his sleeve and wrapped it tighter around the wound. We need to clean this. There's a stream nearby, I think. Ayla winced but smiled. You sound like a healer. Leo shook his head. No, just someone who's had to fix a lot of broken things. They stayed hidden until the sun began to rise fully. The golden light cut through the mist and the forest slowly came alive again. The vines began to hum softly. Small glowing insects floated out of the shadows. Leo and Ayla crawled out of the hollow tree. Their bodies were stiff and sore but alive. They moved carefully, following the soft sound of water until they reached a small stream, flowing through a patch of glowing ferns. Leo helped her sit by the edge. The water was clear and cold. He washed her wound gently, then poured a bit of healing gel from his small first aid bottle, one of the few things he had left from the old human outpost. Ayla flinched but said nothing. When he was done, he looked at her face, soft, strange, but not so different from his own. Better? Yes, she whispered. The pain is less. She paused, then looked at him seriously. Leo, why do humans stay here? The war ended long ago. My people won. You should have left, Leo sighed. Some of us didn't have anywhere to go. The colonies were gone. I was a child when the last ships left. They forgot about me. Her eyes softened. So you were truly alone, he nodded. Yeah, but now, maybe not completely. Ayla looked down, a faint smile on her lips. You speak strange words, Leo. Kind words. My people do not use kindness anymore, only strength. Then maybe they forgot something important, Leo said quietly. Sometimes kindness is stronger than any weapon. Before she could answer, a deep sound echoed through the forest. A low hum that shook the air. Ayla's eyes widened. They found the raft, she whispered. They know we crossed. Leo grabbed his backpack. Then we keep moving. She tried to stand, but her leg gave out. He caught her before she fell. I'll carry you, he said. You cannot carry me forever. Then I'll carry you as far as I can. She looked at him. really looked, as if trying to understand what kind of creature this human boy was. Then she nodded. There is an old shelter nearby. My people built it long ago, before the war. It is hidden under the roots of the great trees. Then that's where we're going, Leo said. They started moving again through the glowing forest. Every step was slower, heavier. The humming sound behind them grew louder. The warriors were searching again. As they moved deeper, Ayla whispered a few words in her language. The air shimmered and the vines shifted aside, opening a narrow path. Leo stared in surprise. You can do that? Only once, she said weakly. The forest listens to me still. But not for long. They entered the hidden path swallowed by the glowing trees. Behind them, the distant sound of alien horns echoed through the morning mist. The hunt had begun again. The morning light fell softly over the alien forest. But peace did not last. The ground began to hum, a low, deep rhythm that made the leaves shake and the air tremble. Leo felt it first through his boots, like the steady march of 1,000 drums far away. He turned to Ayla. She was leaning against the roots of an ancient glowing tree, her face pale, eyes half closed. But when she felt the vibration, she opened them wide. Fear filled her golden eyes. They are close, she whispered. The 50, Leo froze. 50 what? 50 Varnak warriors, she said softly. My father's chosen soldiers. They carry living armor and their weapons. Breathe. Before Leo could reply, the forest itself seemed to respond. Birds flew away. Glowing insects scattered and the vines tightened around the trees, as if hiding from something terrible. Then came the sound. A low horn, deep and metallic, echoed through the trees. It wasn't just a call, it was a warning. The kind of sound that made your heart drop. Ayla closed her eyes. They have found the trail. Leo's heart raced. We have to move. He grabbed his pack and helped Ayla up. She winced but nodded. They followed the hidden forest path she had opened earlier, the glowing vines closing behind them like a curtain, but the sound of the march grew louder. Thud, thud, thud. The rhythm of 50 armored feet moved closer, shaking the roots under their feet. Ayla whispered, They track energy. The beacon from my wound guides them. Then we need to hide it, Leo said. He tore open his pack and pulled out an old human battery shield, a piece of metal tech wrapped in insulation. He tied it around her leg like armor, hoping it would block the signal. Ayla looked at him in surprise. You think like a warrior, he smiled nervously. More like a desperate boy who doesn't want to die. They kept moving. The air grew darker, colder. The sky above turned from gold to gray as clouds gathered. Through the trees, Leo saw movement, shapes of tall, armored figures glowing blue between the trunks. Then he heard voices. Harsh, mechanical, speaking in Ayla's language. She listened carefully, her face pale. They speak of you, she whispered. They say a human boy crossed the sacred river. They call you a curse. Good, Leo said dryly. Maybe they'll run away from me. Ayla almost smiled, but the moment was short. A strange hiss cut through the air, and a blue spear of light struck the tree beside them, bursting in sparks. They found us. Leo shouted. He grabbed Ayla's hand and pulled her down behind a fallen trunk. Another blast hit the ground, leaving a smoking hole. The smell of burning earth filled the air. From the mist, one of the warriors appeared, tall, covered in dark armor with glowing symbols across his chest. His face was hidden behind a mask that looked almost alive, breathing with a faint pulse of light. Leo grabbed a piece of metal from his pack, a broken flash bomb from the human outpost. It was old, half-dead, but it might still work, he whispered. Cover your eyes. Ayla obeyed. Leo pressed the button and threw it. A burst of white light exploded, lighting the entire forest for a second. The warrior screamed, his armor flickering. Leo didn't wait. He lifted Ayla and ran through the smoke. Behind them, loud roars echoed as more warriors arrived. Blue light beams cut through the mist, burning trees and splitting rocks. The air was full of chaos, like sparks, dust, and the metallic smell of alien fire. Ayla's breath was heavy. They will not stop. They cannot fail. Then we just have to run faster, Leo said. They stumbled into a clearing and a wide circle of broken stones overgrown with vines. In the center stood a huge pillar carved with strange symbols. It glowed faintly as if it still remembered ancient energy. Ayla gasped. This place? The old sanctuary, Leo looked around. Will it hide us? Maybe, she whispered. If I awaken it. She reached out her glowing hand and pressed it against the pillar. A wave of blue light spread through the symbols, racing across the ground like lightning. The forest shook. The vines moved like snakes, closing around the clearing. The air shimmered, and suddenly everything outside the circle faded into fog. The noise of the warriors vanished. Leo looked around in shock. What did you do? Ayla fell to her knees, her voice weak. I called the old shield. It hides us, but it won't last. He caught her before she collapsed. You're burning up. You need rest. I used too much power, she whispered. My blood calls to them. When this shield fades, they will come again, all 50. Leo looked out at the mist swirling beyond the vines. He could still see faint blue lights moving in the distance, the warriors searching. He clenched his fists. Then we'll be ready for them. Ayla looked up at him with tired eyes. You cannot fight 50, Leo. He smiled, though fear trembled behind it. I don't need to fight them. I just need to outsmart them. Outside, the alien horn sounded again, louder, closer. The forest quivered under the power of the approaching army. Ayla's shield flickered. The vines began to fade. Leo took a deep breath and whispered, They're coming. And this time he didn't plan to run. The air cracked with thunder. The glowing vines that shielded the old sanctuary flickered once, twice, then shattered like glass. The silence of the forest broke into chaos. Blue beams tore through the fog. Trees exploded into splinters. The earth trembled under the heavy steps of 50 alien warriors. Leo pulled Ayla to her feet. We have to move now. Ayla was weak, her skin pale and glowing faintly, but she nodded. They broke the shield faster than I thought. They must have brought a warcaster. I don't care what they brought, Leo said, slinging her arm around his shoulder. We're not dying here. He guided her through the dense brush, pushing past glowing ferns and hanging roots. Every sound behind them, every snap of a branch, made his heart pound harder. The warriors were spreading out, moving fast, scanning the ground with beams of light. One of those lights swept over the trees, almost touching Leo's back. He ducked and held Ayla close. They hid behind a thick log, barely breathing. Through the mist he could see them, tall figures wrapped in dark armor that shimmered like liquid metal. Their eyes glowed blue beneath sharp helmets. The sight of them sent chills down his spine. They move like one mind, Ayla whispered weakly. If they see us, they will not stop. Leo looked around, searching for a way out. Then he saw it. A deep ravine ahead, its walls covered in glowing moss. A small bridge of twisted vines crossed it. Half broken, but still standing, he pointed. There. If we can cross that, maybe we can lose them. He lifted Ayla again and ran. The forest echoed with the sound of pursuit, heavy footsteps and distant alien roars. The warriors were coming fast. As they reached the ravine, a blast of blue light hit the ground behind them. Dirt exploded, showering Leo's back with sparks. He stumbled but kept running. The bridge swayed above the glowing abyss, creaking under their weight. Ayla clutched his neck tightly. Be careful. The roots are old. I wasn't planning to fall, Leo shouted. Halfway across, another beam hit the bridge. The vines snapped. The bridge dipped sharply, throwing Leo to his knees. He grabbed the edge just in time, holding Ayla against him as the broken vines dangled over the glowing pit. Below them, strange creatures moved, shadowy forms with wings made of light. Whispering in an alien tongue, Ayla's voice trembled. If we fall, they will take us forever. Leo gritted his teeth, pulling himself up with every bit of strength he had left. Inch by inch, he climbed until they reached the other side and rolled onto the grass. Gasping for air, the bridge collapsed behind them, falling into the glowing void. For a few seconds, everything was quiet again. Only their breathing and the hum of the forest. Ayla looked at him with awe. You are no soldier, yet you fight like one. Leo smiled tiredly. I just don't like losing. They got up and moved deeper into the forest. The ground changed here, smoother, covered in strange metal roots and old alien carvings. It was a forgotten zone, ancient and sacred. Ayla glanced around nervously. This place is forbidden. My people fear it. Then it's the perfect place to hide, Leo said. But the warriors didn't stop. The sound of their march returned, echoing through the trees. This time they were faster, guided by drones that buzzed like angry wasps. Leo spotted one above them, a silver sphere scanning the air. Without thinking, he grabbed a rock and threw it. The drone shattered with a flash. The forest responded. Loud alarms, blue streaks of energy lighting the sky. They know. Ayla gasped. Then we run, Leo said, tightening his grip on her. The chase began again. They ran through glowing fog, through tunnels made of roots, over pools of silver water that rippled with strange lights. The air grew hotter, filled with the hum of alien machines. Every few seconds, Leo heard the sound of energy blasts behind them. Trees fell. The ground burned. Then, silence. Leo slowed. Did we lose them? Ayla looked around, eyes glowing faintly. No, she said. They stopped because they found something. He frowned. Found what? Before she could answer, a deep metallic voice echoed through the trees. It was calm, heavy, and cold. Return the outcast. Humans, surrender and you will be given a quick death. Ayla froze. That voice. My father. Leo's stomach turned cold. He's here? She nodded slowly. High Commander Karen. He commands the 50. He is the strongest of all. The forest seemed to darken at her words. Another voice followed, colder, closer. You cannot hide from your blood, Ayla. The river saw. The watchers spoke. You belong to us, Leo pulled her hand. We're not stopping. They broke into a run again, branches whipping against their faces. The mist thickened, hiding the path. Behind them, heavy steps shook the ground. Suddenly, Leo saw a faint light ahead, a doorway built into a hill covered in vines and stone. It looked ancient, half buried by time, Ayla gasped. That is the Gate of Echoes. It leads to the human ruins. Then that's where we're going, Leo said. He pushed open the door. Inside was darkness, deep, cold, silent. As they entered, the door began to close behind them on its own. The last thing Leo saw through the gap was a line of blue lights. 50 warriors, their armor glowing like fireflies of death. Then the door sealed shut. The forest outside exploded with the sound of alien horns. The stone door shut behind them with a deep, echoing thud. Then, silence. Leo stood in darkness, his chest rising and falling fast. He could still hear the faint rumble of the alien horns outside, muffled by the earth. His legs shook. His arms ached from carrying Ayla, but they were alive. For now. He switched on the small flashlight from his bag. The beam cut through the shadows, revealing walls covered with strange carvings, spirals, symbols, and handprints. Some human, some alien. The place smelled of dust and metal, of a time long forgotten. Ayla's golden eyes reflected the light. This is no simple shelter, she whispered. This is an ancient meeting hall, the place where my people and yours once stood together. Leo looked around in awe. You mean humans in Varnak built this place? Yes, she said softly. Before the war, before hate, they walked deeper. The tunnel led to a large chamber, half collapsed but still strong. In the center stood a tall metal column covered in vines. The air hummed softly around it. The column was alive. Its surface shimmered faintly with silver light. Leo stepped closer. What is this? The Beacon of Union, Ayla said, her voice full of memory. It was made to join our worlds, to share thought and heart. When the war began, it was buried to hide its power. He placed his hand on it. The metal felt warm. For a moment, a faint spark passed through his skin like a heartbeat. Ayla winced and touched her chest. It still listens. It remembers voices. Leo looked at her wound. The faint blue light from her leg had dimmed. You need rest. Sit here. He helped her onto a stone slab and took out his small medkit. As he cleaned her wound, she watched him quietly. You are strange, Leo, she said softly. You fight without hate. You run without fear. My people would not understand you. He smiled faintly. Maybe they don't have to. Maybe they just need to see it. She looked away, her expression heavy. My father will not see. To him, mercy is weakness. He will destroy this place to erase his shame. Leo tightened the bandage. Then we'll make sure he doesn't. The ground trembled suddenly. Dust fell from the ceiling. A faint blue glow shone through cracks in the stone door. They're breaking through, Ayla whispered. Leo looked at the beacon. You said it connects our worlds. Can it call for help? She hesitated. Maybe, if it still has power. He rushed to the base of the column. There were old control panels, half human, half alien. Symbols glowed faintly under the dust. He brushed them clean and saw words in English. Signal override. Human uplink offline. He frowned. Offline, figures. Ayla leaned closer, her voice weak but determined. Let me try. She placed her glowing hand on the surface. The beacon responded instantly. Light raced up the column, spreading across the walls like veins of fire. The air vibrated. A low hum filled the chamber. Blue light surrounded Ayla, lifting her hair and shimmering around her face. She looked almost angelic, glowing in the darkness. What's happening? Leo asked. She closed her eyes. It's reading me. Searching for connection. Connection to what? To anyone still listening, she whispered. The light grew brighter, too bright to look at. Leo shielded his eyes. Then suddenly the light stopped. A faint rhythmic beeping filled the air. Ayla gasped, her face pale. It worked. The human satellites above the clouds, they answered. Leo's heart jumped. You mean someone's coming? Maybe. If they receive my signal before my father destroys this place. A loud crash echoed from the tunnel. The stone door cracked open. Blue mist poured in. The sound of heavy footsteps followed. Ayla grabbed Leo's hand. He's here, Leo turned. Through the broken doorway, a tall shadow appeared, armor gleaming, eyes burning like twin suns. High Commander Karen. His voice thundered across the chamber. My daughter, you bring shame to your blood. And you, human. Filth of the old war, you will die for touching her. Leo stepped in front of Ayla, his voice steady though fear burned in his chest. You'll have to go through me first. Karen raised his staff. So be it. A beam of blue light shot toward them. Leo dove aside, pulling Ayla down. The blast hit the beacon, sending waves of energy across the room. The wall shook, Ayla screamed. He's destroying it. Leo scrambled to the control panel. Sparks flew, but one button still glowed. Emergency defense. He slammed his hand on it. Instantly, the ground split open. Blue energy shields rose from the floor, forming a barrier between them and the commander. The old defenses of the ruins had awakened. Karen roared, striking the barrier with his staff again and again. Each hit shook the chamber. Ayla grabbed Leo's arm. You can't hold him forever. The beacon is unstable. Leo looked at her, sweat dripping down his face. Then we do what humans do best, buy time. Above them, a rumble echoed from the sky, the sound of engines. A shadow passed over the cracks in the roof. Ayla's eyes widened. The ship. They heard. Karen looked up too, fury flashing in his eyes. No one will take her from me. He raised his weapon for one final strike. Leo took a deep breath and stood between the commander and the beacon. You'll have to try harder than that. The light exploded and everything went white. The world was white. For a moment there was no sound, no air, no time, only light, bright, endless, burning. Then the light faded, and silence gave birth to chaos. Leo opened his eyes slowly. His ears rang like 1,000 bells. Dust floated in the air like snow. The ground was cracked, the walls split open. The great beacon that once glowed proudly was now flickering weakly, its energy almost gone. Ayla lay a few feet away, her skin pale, her golden eyes half open. Leo, she whispered faintly. He crawled toward her, ignoring the pain in his legs. Ayla, are you okay? I live, she said softly. But the beacon, it is dying. Leo turned to look. Sparks crawled along the metal. The once bright column now bled blue light from its cracks. Outside the broken doorway, thunder rolled, not from the sky but from marching boots. The warriors were coming again. Through the smoke, Leo saw Karen rise. His armor was burned and cracked, but his strength was terrifying. He stood tall, his glowing eyes fixed on them. You cannot win, the alien commander said, voice deep and echoing. This world belongs to the strong. Mercy has no place here. Leo stood, shaking but unbroken. Then maybe it's time that changed. Karen laughed, and a cold mechanical sound. A child of the fallen humans speaks of change? You are nothing. Leo clenched his fists. I'm nothing, yeah. But I saved your daughter when you left her to die. That's something you'll never understand. Karen's eyes blazed. She is weak. Her weakness will destroy us all. No, Leo said firmly. Her kindness will save you. The alien commander roared and raised his staff. Blue fire burst from it, hitting the ground where Leo had stood a heartbeat before. The blast threw him across the room. He crashed into a pillar, pain exploding through his ribs. Ayla screamed, Father, stop! Karen ignored her. He infects you with human lies. She pushed herself up, limping toward him. Her legs still glowed with pain, but her voice was strong now. Then let those lies live. Because his heart is cleaner than all your power. Karen hesitated, and just for a moment. It was the first time his daughter had defied him. Leo saw his chance. He crawled to the beacon, smoke rising from its surface. One button still blinked red. Core override. He looked at Ayla. If I hit this, what happens? Her eyes widened. It will release all the beacon's power at once. It will destroy this place, Leo nodded, and maybe take your father's army with it. Ayla's breath caught. You'll die too, he smiled faintly. I was already alone, but if I can end this war, maybe it's worth it. She shook her head, tears glowing in her eyes. No, I won't lose you. Karen saw the movement and realized what was happening. Stop him, he shouted. The remaining warriors rushed into the chamber, their armor shining with fire. Beams of light shot through the air. Leo ducked behind the beacon, but one blast grazed his arm, burning deep. He screamed, but kept moving. He slammed his hand onto the button. The beacon screamed, a high, piercing sound that made the ground quake. Blue light surged upward, exploding through the cracks in the ceiling and into the sky. A wave of energy swept through the chamber. The warriors were thrown back, their armor shattering like glass. Karen raised his staff, shouting in rage, but the light swallowed him whole. The beacon roared like a living sun. The air became pure energy. Leo's vision blurred. He fell to his knees beside Ayla. She reached out to him, her hand trembling. You fool. You saved us both and doomed yourself. He smiled weakly. At least I got to meet you. Her tears glowed as they fell onto his hand. No, you will not die here. She placed her hand on his chest, her blue blood glowing bright. My life for yours. The light from her body flowed into him, and warm, pure, alive. Leo felt the pain fade. His wounds closed, but Ayla's glow began to dim. Ayla, stop, he gasped. You'll die, she smiled softly. I crossed a river once, remember? You carried me then. Now it's my turn. Her hand slipped from his chest. Her glow faded completely. Outside, the beacon's light shot into the heavens, piercing the clouds. In the distance, human ships descended, drawn by the signal. Leo looked up through the broken roof. The world was bright again, and he could hear the faint rumble of engines above. The Varnak warriors were gone. Only silence and blue dust remained. He held Ayla's still hand in his, whispering, You crossed more than a river, Ayla. You crossed worlds. Moments later, the sound of landing thrusters filled the air. Human voices called out, echoing through the ruins. A beam of light fell over Leo, scanning him. He felt strong arms lift him up. Survivor found, someone said. Signal confirmed. He's the one who sent the beacon. Leo looked back one last time. The beacon stood silent now, its glow gone, but its meaning lived on. He whispered to the empty room, We made them see. And as the ship carried him away from the battlefield, the dawn broke, golden and peaceful, over a world where one human boy and one alien girl had ended a war not with power, but with kindness.